Tomorrow is the presidential and other things election in the USA. It is going to be an interesting time over the next few weeks, couple months, maybe over the next 4 years, who knows? And what can we do to prepare for it? Let's talk about it. Now, I'm not much one for fear-mongering or the sky is falling or anything like that, but I have been more and more aware over the last, well, really since 2020, more and more aware that preparing is done before something happens. And many times you don't know when something is going to happen. You don't know when the next hurricane is going to hit. You usually have a little bit of notice, but you don't know. Hurricanes can change course in the Gulf if they're coming up the Gulf. So we always look at hurricanes coming up through the Gulf of Mexico, because if they go west, they might hit Texas or parts of Galveston where we own property, or if they go east, they might hit Florida, Alabama. You never know. You never know exactly where they're going to go until until maybe a short time before. So it's always good to prepare beforehand. And this election, regardless of which direction it goes, there's going to be a group of unhappy people. I think that's the most PC way to say it, okay? The important thing is that you go out and vote. Go vote. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. Go vote. Just go vote on Tuesday if you haven't done it by then. I'm early voting. I early voted last week. I'm making this video that'll post on Monday, and we'll see what happens there. So I was poking around on YouTube earlier today, and videos like this came across my feed. I thought this was a really good video from a Homestead Journey is the name of the channel. She's got 578,000 views on this video that posted 9 days ago. This is on a channel with only 22,000 subscribers. That's an excellent view count. That tells me that there's people looking for this type of stuff. Okay, so I'm going to approach this from a ham radio standpoint. This is a good video. I will link it in the description below. The whole video is just her talking, sitting in her car and talking. But it's good information, and it's basically summed up right here in this first... I commented. My comment's at the top, but as soon as it refreshes, it'll go away. And this comment here that was made pretty early on lists 8 things: extra cash on hand, gas in vehicles, pantry stocked up, have enough water. I have water storage upstairs, along with freeze-dried food, 30 days worth. Pets needs, pets medication, pet food, again, water. Bug out or go bag. I have several of those, and I've done a couple of those on my Pac-Man channel. Talk about those later, maybe. Last minute errands done. So get all your errands run before this happens, before election day, just in case. And think about the current weather situation. So depending on where the weather is, where you are, if it's going to be rainy, if it's going to be cold or hot, you're going to want air conditioners, you're going to want heaters, you're going to want gasoline power generators, solar panels, you want your batteries charged up, this type of thing. So these are things to think about. Now, I don't really think that the world is going to hit a reset button on Tuesday, November 5th. That's not really what I'm thinking. What I'm thinking is, and I watched this video from Mike Glover Actual, right here, 3 tips to prep before the election. And he talks a lot about Starlink, how it's portable, how you can take it with you if you need to leave the house, how it'll keep you connected. You'll be able to FaceTime. You'll be able to make phone calls and that kind of thing. And he talks about generator power, battery power. He talks about using his vehicle as an actual generator, which is a great idea. I've heard a lot of guys say that before. But he makes a good point in that video where he says, it's not going to happen overnight. If something were to happen, which I'm not saying it is, I'm not saying it's not. Maybe, maybe not. Okay, if one candidate wins, we're going to have mostly peaceful riots in parts of the country. If the other candidate wins, there's going to be a lot of accusations of cheating. Accusations, whether it's true or not, I'm not saying that. It's going to be a wild ride. It's going to be a wild ride over the next few weeks. But Glover's point is basically that it's not going to happen all at once. It's going to kind of build up. So depending on what happens on Tuesday, tomorrow, at the time of this recording, I'm going to post this video the day before the election, the official election. It might be a month or 2 or 3 or 6, who knows, but stuff is going to happen, unfortunately, and you just want to be prepared for it. So I wanted to take this opportunity to say we, as ham radio operators, should prepare by getting our radios ready. Get out your radio, your mobile station, your go bag, your HT. I've got this new Anytone radio that I just reviewed. My old Anytone radio right here. I've got my Connect Systems M17 radio here. and my hotspot hooked up. Get your radio ready. Get it charged up. Key up your local repeaters. I've been pushing this narrative for about a year. Key up your local repeaters. Key up your local repeaters. Make sure you have the correct programming in your radio for your local repeaters. And get on the repeater and talk to people in your area. I live in Texas. We didn't really have much of a problem with mostly peaceful riots back between 2016 and 2020. And from 2020 to today, we haven't had many issues in my area. So I live in a fairly civilized area. Some of you probably can't say that. And some of you might live out in the country, even more rural and more secluded than I am. I wish I was there with you. I didn't really have many issues over the last 4 to 8 years in the regard that I'm talking about. However, it's always a good idea to make sure that you know what your local repeaters are. If they're online, make sure you know if they're online. Try to key them up. Throw your call sign out. Try to get on the air. And I've been pushing a narrative for a while to use local repeaters more and more often anyway. So this is a good time to make sure your local repeaters are up. Do a wellness check once a day. Get with your local hams. Get with your local ham radio club, if you have one. Get with 2 or 3 friends in your area who are local hams and just say, let's get on the repeater at 2 p.m. local time every day just for a wellness check. Just get on the repeater, make sure the repeater's working, make sure my radio's working, make sure everybody's okay, make sure this, make sure that. If anything's going on in the area, you can share local information and local facts with your people. It's never a bad idea to just make sure the lines of communication are open where you are. I'm talking locally. You can always take your go bag or your mobile ham radio station or your man pack or something like that, go out to a park and set up and make contacts all over the United States and Canada, Mexico, South America, and that kind of thing. You can always do that. Parks on the Air is a great adventure. Parks on the Air prepares you. You set up a portable HF station with a portable antenna, with a portable battery. You get on the air, you make contacts all over the country. It's a great way to prepare for disaster times of sending traffic into and out of areas such as we saw post-Hurricane Helene, such as we saw post-Hurricane Milton, and such as we've seen with several hurricanes and tornadoes over the last several years. So it's never a bad idea to keep that accessory, that Go Kit, available as well. But during these times, if you live in an area where you think there might be a little bit of civil unrest, this is a good time to make sure that your radios are charged up, get on the air, make sure your repeaters are working, and just communicate with your local community around you just to make sure that everything's good. If you don't have a ham radio license yet, if you don't have that yet, get a GMRS license. Maybe in fact, you know what? I'm probably going to make sure that I have my GMRS radios charged up as well, because there's 2 or 3 good GMRS repeaters in my area. But if you want to have access to even more repeaters on more bands, Ham Radio Prep offers a 20% discount for all of their learning courses with the coupon code of Jason20. I'll put a link in their description below. They're the sponsor of today's video. Download their app for free on your iOS or Android device. Ham Radio Prep. Get started today. The knowledge you need about ham radio, about how repeaters work, about how offsets and CTCSS tones and DCS tones, how all of this works so that you can be prepared to use your local repeaters should you need to for the next time of need, for the next disaster, be it a natural disaster like a tornado, earthquake, hurricane, a flood, something like that. Maybe just we're coming into winter. I'm going to do some preparing for winter videos over the next 2 or 3 months. So we're coming into winter. It's a good time to prepare for that as well. But check out Ham Radio Prep and tell them that Ham Radio 2.0 sent you. So the bottom line is just get on your repeaters. Make sure you have everything that you need. I keep a little charging bank like this. This is that really popular INIU charging bank. I say it's popular. I've shared it on a lot of videos, and over the last 2 months, it's been like one of the most purchased items on my Amazon store. I will leave it in a link in the description below. I carry a little man pack around me, a shoulder bag that I take with me most places. I'll usually just throw it in the truck and take it with me. I have my journal in it. I have extra batteries in it. I have this in it to charge my radio and my phone. And absolutely make sure your phone is charged up during this time. You don't want to just throw the cell phone in the drawer and forget about it because you think civil unrest is coming. Your cell phone can be a very valuable communications tool as well. So make sure it's charged up. Make sure you got an extra battery for it. I can't put an extra battery in this one. Most cell phones these days don't allow you to change out the battery very easily, but this will charge it very quickly, and it's a good resource to have. Have a solar panel. Have a little pocket solar panel with you. Have some sort of power station some sort of like EcoFlow or Segway or Anker power station, something like that you can recharge this on, or that you can recharge your phone and your radio on, maybe even your internet service. Run your internet service off of a grid down scenario in case you need to. So these are all things to prepare for any type of thing. Again, I don't really think anything's immediate is going to happen tomorrow. I don't want to do any type of fear-mongering or rage baiting or anything like that, okay? But I do think it's always a good idea to be prepared. I do think it's a good idea for us to key up our local repeaters on a regular basis, make sure everything's still working, keep the lines of communication open with our community, and just be prepared for the next time something happens. Because unfortunately, we live in an imperfect world, and just stuff happens sometimes. So let's be prepared. Let's get on the air. Let's talk to each other in our communities, and I hope to hear you out there. Stay safe, and 73.